was 6.13 million. We broke another arena record. The only transport tonight was Tony Ferguson. Performance of the night, Chandler and Andre, and the fight of the night was Royval and Schnell. They all won 50 grand. Congrats.
Too soon on an update for Tony at this point?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about Tony. Other than that was the most vicious knockout I've ever seen.
Yeah, no doubt. Any updates on Cowboy as well? Obviously that fight got pulled. So have you heard anything more?
No, from what I hear, he got food poisoning. Went to some taco place last night and got food poisoning, and apparently it was really bad. Like, he had really bad food poisoning. They tried to give him an IV, and it didn't work. So we're trying to move the fight to another date.
I was gonna ask you want to keep that matchup together?
We're gonna try to. We'll see. I think Lozon wasn't too confident that the fight. He's down to do the fight, but he doesn't think that Cowboy will want to make 55 again.
Incredible main event, obviously, as long as it lasted, back and forth. I mean, I guess just your initial thoughts on, like I said, a great main event.
It was what I expected. It was what you expected. It was what we all expected. Two seriously bad dudes going at it. And Oliveira proved tonight, he's the best, man. He really is.
Can you give us your thoughts on this whole weight fiasco and him losing the belt and just, I guess,
It's a nightmare. I mean, it's a nightmare. We were just talking about it in the back there. What we need to do, we have this issue where guys come out and they'll start checking the scale the night before, and, all the Europeans and guys from other parts of the world do kilos. So they all start fucking with the scale to look at kilos, and who knows? There's so many moving parts to this beast of a machine that we run every week. And, we got to have a security guard in there where the scale is now. And, it's something we're going to have to do.
Is there any thoughts from you or the rest of his staff on his status as champion, right? I mean, it's your belt. I mean, if you want to give it to him, you can give it to him, right? And that what you said, like when it was Ally Quinton was going to fight for it, and you're like, yeah, we don't care if he beats the guy, we'll give him the belt.
Well, listen, he's the guy. He's the guy. He didn't make weight. We have rules. He didn't make the weight. He doesn't. The belt is vacant. But I think, I'm sure in the minds of the media and fight fans, Oliveira is the champion. But technically, he's the number one contender now. He's the guy.
But clearly, whatever the next title fight is, he's on one half of it against.
100%.
Okay, fair enough. Your thoughts on the co-main? Not quite the excitement level in the co-main event that we had in the main. A bit of a frustrating watch. I guess. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it was a weird fight. Seemed like they didn't want to engage. I think there was a total of 6 punches thrown in the first round. So that's a tough one. It happens sometimes.
Rose was just here. She said she thought she won. She wasn't sure why. I mean, did you think that it was more competitive or that Rose may have won?
I don't even know, man. I started zoning out halfway through it. So I don't know.
I guess last question for me is, because of the way that fight played out, would you ever look at pairing them together a third time, or do you now look at that as we're not going to do that fight ever again?
Well, I don't think anybody's clamoring for that rematch. We'll have to figure something else out. Listen, Rose is one of the best. She's always going to be there. We'll see what happens. You got. Did we announce that fight yet? Did we announce the one?
Just say it, then we'll let you know if you did.
Whaley and Joanna. Yeah. Okay. So when that fight happens,
you look at that.
100%.
Dana.
Yep.
Down here to your right. Obviously, being a champion comes with pay-per-view points. I don't know if you guys have discussed that, but what's Charles' status with pay-per-view points?
He gets it.
He will still get them?
Yep.
Even for his next fight as well?
That's a good question. I don't know. We'd figure that out.
Tonight, DC got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm curious if you could just give us some thoughts on Daniel Cormier and what he's been like to work with.
Love him. Super important to the sport. Obviously, means a lot to this company. And, love him. Happy for him. And it's cool to see somebody that happy to be inducted, too. He was pretty busted up. Because we don't tell these guys when we're doing it. We just surprise them the night of. So, yeah.
What was your reaction to the Charles weight thing in real time? As you're getting updates about it?
No. Oh, my fucking God. It's the worst thing that can happen during So, when the weigh-in's going on, Lene is texting me everybody's weight as they come in, and she hit me with all the people, and then I hit her back and I said, no Oliveira, and she's like, he's up next. So I was like, oh shit, why is he last? What's and, the worst thing that could possibly happen happened.
Yeah, next door here. I know you called Michael Chandler's knockout like the most vicious you had seen, but what do you want next for Tony? That's now like 3-4 in a row, and he's, as you said, coming off a bad knockout loss.
Yeah, well, everybody was asking me this week leading up to this fight, is this a make or break for Tony Ferguson and whatever? And I said, no, I mean, he's still one of the top 10 guys in the world. He looked damn good in that first round. But that was a vicious knockout. You know what I mean? I think what needs to happen now is Tony needs to take some time off after that knockout, and I don't know. But it's not like, oh my God, Tony got dominated and looks like he doesn't even belong here. And Tony looked damn good right up until he got caught. And in this game, anybody can get caught with anything.
Michael Chandler also said he'd be down to fight Conor at 170. Conor said that fight could actually happen in the future, maybe not next, but what do you make of that call out?
Yeah, that's a fun one, man. I mean, who the hell wouldn't want to see that fight? Yeah, that's fun. But Conor's not ready yet, so Conor's hurt. So, when Conor's 100% and can actually really start training for a fight, then we talk about what's next for Conor. But listen, who doesn't want to see Chandler versus Conor? Raise your hand. Oh, he's just messing with his camera there. I thought it was me.
Andre Fiallo said he ran down back here, and he said he already booked a fight for Singapore in a couple of weeks, but didn't have an opponent yet.
Listen, man, you know me. I love that shit. He came back into my green room after and was like, I want to fight. He's laid out 3 dates for me that he wants to fight. Matchmakers are screaming no. I'm like, we're doing it. If he wants to do it, I'm in. I love that shit.
But no name yet? He didn't say he didn't have a name?
No.
Then, do you have to have a conversation with Shogun now? I know he said he wanted 2 more fights, so I would assume next fight would be the end of it.
Yeah, I think Shogun is Shogun has 1 fight left. And again, I mean, I'm glad you asked me that question. Anderson Silva. What the fuck is Anderson Silva talking about? When have any of you ever heard me talk negatively, except for the fight in Abu Dhabi, about Anderson Silva? Never. I've never talked bad about Anderson Silva. Not only that, we let the guy, fight through his contract. He lost, like 7 of his last 8 or 8 of his last 9 fights, and always treated him with, I don't know where the hell this is coming from him, that then I started trying to make it so he couldn't make money after, I said, Jake Paul's looking to fight somebody, fight Anderson Silva. That guy's out there. He's available. And he's 47 years old. It's baffling to me. Anyway, so that, you asked me that, it's like Shogun is a legend, not just here, but in the sport. Pride here. And it's not like Shogun went out there tonight and looked like, oh my God, this guy can't even compete in the sport anymore. He's got 1 more fight left on his contract, so I'll give it to him and let him make that money and go out the way he wants to.
When's the last time you actually talked to Anderson?
It's been a long time. But his son hits me up. He wants to come to fights. Absolutely. And this is his house. If he ever wants to, that came out of left field and makes absolutely no sense to me. Unless you guys have heard me say something that I don't remember saying. The only time I ever said anything negative about Anderson Silva was in Abu Dhabi after that fight.
Finally, Randy Brown said the fighters weren't allowed to walk out with flags. Is that something that's going to move forward?
Yeah.
Any specific reasons or just no flag?
You know why. You guys know why.
Hey, Dana.
Let's not even play that fucking
Dana, I
game.
think you had expressed some frustration towards Anderson when he made that comment that the UFC was more of a family back in the day when, like, you referenced Lorenzo being there and how it's been different. Do you recall that one?
No. Is that negative?
I don't know. He had said that about you, and I think you were frustrated about it.
I don't think I was frustrated.
Okay. Another question. A lot of people...
Did you hear me talk negatively about him?
No, I don't think it was particularly negative, but you thought he was kind of out of line when he made that comment, I recall.
Thought it was probably weird or something.
Yeah.
But, never negative. I never said anything bad about Anderson Silva. Tell me something I said bad about Anderson Silva.
I think you're right. A lot of people kind of freaking out when they saw that War Room, all the fights on the board and stuff. I know a lot of those have been confirmed. I'm sure you know what I'm going to ask. Nate Diaz versus Hamzat Chimaev. What's the deal with
Yeah, some of those are just placeholders. So when we go in there, we'll have placeholders in place. So none of that stuff are done deals. Those are all, some of them are just placeholders. Some of them are done and some of them aren't.
Is that a fight you want to do?
Yeah,
Is it being offered to Nate?
I don't know.
And another one was on there was Jones and Stipe. John Jones had come out over the weekend and said the UFC is playing little games and making that fight. Do you have any idea what he's referencing?
I'm sure he did. You know what? Now that would be something that I could go, oh, John. If I was John Jones, I'd think the same thing because it's on the board in there. But you can't. That's why we shot that podcast in there, but we didn't announce anything or say anything. That's just shit that's on the wall in there, and that fight is not happening. No. So no games. John knows what's going on. That wasn't, that's something that people read on the wall, not something that we said is done.
And you guys put together Max Holloway and Volkanovski. That was part of the lineup that came out today. Was that always the fight that you guys wanted to do next since it was originally booked for earlier this year?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey Dana, after everything that went on this weekend, Beneil Dariush and Islam Makhachev, you still want to make that fight next?
I do. But Joe Rogan just grabbed me in the hallway and told me not to.
Winner of that fight, would that be for the number one contender spot?
Yes.
So then, with everything that went down this weekend, any way Michael Chandler or any other name could be fighting Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight strap before that fight? We get the results for that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the fight just happened.
Brandon Royval, number 6, he got the victory, he got the performance bonus. He called for a flyweight title belt. What do you think he's got to do? He's probably at least one more fight away from that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know tonight. I don't make fights the night of the fight.
Any update on what to do for the flyweight title? Are we going to see the trilogy fight with Brandon Moreno and Figgy? The quadrilogy, rather.
Probably not. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
What's going to happen instead?
Well, I'll tell you when we announce it.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Hey Dana, right behind over here.
Yep.
The Footprint Center was rocking all night. I think I saw 3 empty seats throughout the night. I'm pretty sure those people were in the bathroom. So what did you make of the crowd tonight?
That's always, this is the second time that this place has been incredible. The fans here are nuts. I love it.
And after Trinaldo's fight, he said that he stopped aging at 33. Are you ever surprised when he comes out? He's 43 years old and he looks like he has a lot left in the tank. Were you surprised by his performance tonight?
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised, but no, the guy's a savage.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dana, Duncan
Yep.
here from Fox Sports Australia.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going? Just back on that Volkanovski versus Holloway trilogy fight. How important is that to Volk's legacy, considering that there was so many question marks over the decision win last time?
I don't know if there's any question marks about it now. I mean, that guy, after his last performance, he looked unbelievable, unstoppable. And, it's one of those things as you continue to win and you continue to feel comfortable in there and you continue to feel like this is your house, you only get better. And it's going to be interesting to see this fight. This is the fight that needs to happen. I think everybody wants to see it. It's arguably as tough as test he's had in all of his defenses since he's been champ, and it could be the defining moment in his career where it's like, let's not discuss this again. Let's never have this conversation again.
He wants 3 fights this year. How likely is that to happen?
Very likely. If he wants 3, we'll definitely get him 3.
And he's indicated he wants to move up to lightweight at some